From the murals on the wall to the street side stand, Mark's got the map, Jeff's got the plan. Cruise through Wisconsin where the sun stays bright, looking for a flavor or a brand in a new sight. Let's take flight with Mark and Jeff. Hippie chick, join the man stork flock and turn it into a whole big crew. They all says we're following you. Jeff and Mark exploring again, finding the best wackadoodles in the land. Add Mark and Jeff to your day, because we have so much to say. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter how far, our curiosity's charged. We're ready to see what's next. Mark and Jeff need this job, so please come join the flock and hit the like, share, and unsubscribe. Thank you from Mark and Jeff and the Mad Stork flock.
Well. We'll go live for a little bit. Rathouse Media, all the people, they said, hey, you should go live. I'm not even ready for this live. I was sitting back watching my Brewers get kicked again. Ever since the Brewers went to Boston, something happened. There's something going on out there in Massachusetts. Now they put the old whammo on my Milwaukee Brewers, and they have been horrible ever since they went out to Boston. What is going on? Again, they can't score runs tonight. So I was watching the Brewers, watching Rathouse Media. Great job by Rathouse Media and the gang getting that money for Turtle Boy tonight. Very good. Good job. Very good job. What are we going to talk about tonight? I don't know. We've got to think about what we're going to talk about. Tully, I guess we could talk about Tully. How do they move forward again with Tully retiring? He's the lead investigator for Turtle Boy's case, right? So now he's retired. So that lead investigator's gone. So what is going on with Massachusetts State Police? People getting rehomed, people retiring, people getting cut. What the heck? I don't understand it. So, hey, thanks a lot for the people that are showing up here. Really appreciate it. And like I said, we'll see what we're going to talk about. One thing I got to do right off the bat is my buddy Tracy Broussard, who I do another show with, Over the Line. Matter of fact, I got the Over the Line stuff on tonight. And got the shirt on. Look at that. Trying to promote Tracy. But he wanted me to check out. I got to get this ready. Hang on a second. He wants me to check out this guy from Louisiana. He wants me to rip on him. Evidently, he's got something against this guy. I don't know what this is all about, but we'll watch it together for the first time and see what it's about. And can't wait. So the guy is DJ Rhett. I guess he does a podcast, YouTube, and he does, I guess he's a music guy too. So he writes songs, but I don't know what Tracy's deal is with him, but we'll watch it.
Started 9 months ago.
9 months ago. So it's like a little baby you've been carrying in. You're gonna give
I
birth.
never thought about it that way. I'm ready for birth.
You're having contractions right now.
Yes. Dilated or whatever.
Yeah. So in the studio we got Mr. Jason Bageron, or Burger Ron, whatever y'all want to call him up north or whatever. But he's running for past president right now. A good buddy of mine went to high school, and he made the runoff. And
yes, sir.
So I'm really proud of Terrebonne Parish, because they looks like they're looking for some change right now, kind of stir it up right now. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of tell me the highs, the lows, and what's been going on, man. It must be kind of biting your nails last minute. And
well, this whole campaign's been, I've been telling people I'm working hard, putting the Lord's hands, working hard, putting the Lord's hands.
Evidently, this is going to be boring. I'm not going to watch it. Sorry, Tracy, just can't watch it. When it starts out that boring, I can't do it. So I'm sorry about that. But what else do we got here? I wanted to show this. I really like it. I put this on X a little while ago. I really like it when Attorney Bradel gets a little sarcastic. I really like it. And he had a nice post today. And actually, I guess it was yesterday. But It was really, I like it when he gets like this. I like it when all the lawyers get like this. So, good old Tim. Let's show that to you. It's, that's the only thing I don't understand is how you get that bigger so that people can see that. That's something I got to learn too. There's a lot of things I heard over on Rathouse that you got to have 1,000 people before you can have Danny steer you over to me. What's that all about? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, okay. Can't figure out how I get that to be bigger. J7, hat's coming Monday, it tells me. Can't wait for that. That's going to be great. So, where else am I here? Now I just lost my chat. This StreamYard sometimes. I always thought it was a pretty good program because Tracy and I use it on our other show, and I've never had problems. But it seems like all of a sudden I started doing this, and it's just been kind of a wackadoodle program, and I don't get it. But she's failing. She's going to sleep. Well, it already is about 9:30 out on the East Coast. So, but we have Tully that resigned. So I don't get how you can prosecute Turtle Boy when your lead investigator retires. I don't get how that happens. So, and he must have retired because of the depositions that are coming up for Karen Reed. Yeah, I think so. Running on calf. Tracy was trying to put everybody to sleep with that. He said that the guy does music, and I don't want to do the music because knowing that, I'll probably get striked, and I'm not going to deal with that. So, who knows? For some reason, though, Tracy seems to like the guy. I don't get it, but StreamYard has been annoying, very annoying. Saturday night. I know what is the deal? Saturday night and J7 going to sleep at 9:30 at night. Wow. Talk about fun. So what are we going to talk about? What's going on? What else is going on in Massachusetts that I should know about that I maybe missed? But Tully's got to be the big news. I mean, even Turtle Boy is getting ready for Monday and was supposed to go on tonight, but decided to go tomorrow night. And so I'm sure he's getting ready to talk about Tully tomorrow night. I just don't understand. He's protecting the pension. Yeah, I get that. But does he? I wonder if he loses the pension if he's caught up where he actually has been found out that he's done something wrong. You would think that he would lose his pension at that point. That pension's got to be, I don't know how much it is, but it's got to be a pretty good one. I mean, how does a state trooper end up making $200,000 a year? That's what I want to know. I mean, I have a lot of friends where I live that are police officers, and I get that it's a little bit more expensive to live out in that area, but they're not making anything near $200,000. So I don't know what, but he made like last year, I think was 180. And I noticed too, when somebody posted his salary, if you go back and look at that salary, it really started bumping up after the Karen Reed incident. All of a sudden he was getting $50,000-$60,000 worth of overtime. I mean, who's in charge of that and approving that? Because what did he do other than cover up things? Unreal. If he gets convicted of certain crimes, he would lose the pension. Okay. So, I mean, that's just something when you think about $60,000 in overtime, because he was making like 120,000, a little over 120,000, 130. And then he was reaching $186,000. I mean, that's just, That's crazy stuff. I don't, and like I said, I understand that the cost of living out east a little bit more, but I mean, that much more for a guy that maybe wasn't a really good cop. I don't know. Who's in charge of that money, paying that? Is that the governor, or is Morrissey paying that? I don't know. What does everybody think about the DA race there in Norfolk County? Who's the favorite? Is it going to be Morrissey's guy or who? I mean, that's something I've been trying to keep track of too. So, seems like more. I saw something else. Another cop got in trouble and was charged with something again today. Out. I mean, it continues. It's just unbelievable. See, and you'd think the Las Vegas cops would be making a little bit more because of Las Vegas, but I've never heard of a cop making that much money. And I realized he was a lieutenant, or detective lieutenant, whatever. But still, I'm going to get my buddy. I got a buddy that's running for sheriff of the county that I live here in Wisconsin. And I'm going to bring him in. And I can tell you right now that the sheriff of this county does not make $200,000. So that Adam everybody likes. Well, let's hope it's not Morrissey's guy, because that will change nothing in that county. Nothing. Unbelievable. So we got that. We got Tully retiring. We got who's all the other ones? Buchanan, he got rehomed somewhere else. During the Boston Marathon, he was on the streets dressed up like a regular cop. So he, yeah, Greg Conner, you don't want that guy. A lot of them retired. The guy that I liked the most in the trial of Karen Reed, who I thought was the most corrupt person. I mean, I know all of them were, okay, I know that. But that Gallagher, that Lieutenant Gallagher, now that was the guy. When Alan Jackson said, "You don't want to go in the house?" Nope, didn't have no reason to go in the house. He was the guy that I liked the most. Talk about a guy that was corrupt. He was the worst. And he got out quick, so he saved everything. Unbelievable. Yeah, his smug face. He was something. He was something. And that Morrissey, I read something today. It was an old thing that Morrissey covered up somebody, a land developer. I guess the guy might be, I don't know if he's passed away now, but covered up something he was doing that was unbelievable bad. And Morrissey covered it up because he was a big donor and friend of his. And then even Morrissey, didn't he get in an accident because he said he was reaching for a pizza or something? What's up with that? But yeah, there was a couple of guys. I mean, everybody knows that Trooper Paul, he was a dandy and everything. But yeah, Gallagher retired at that point. I testified in trial too, yeah. But he was the worst. I mean, just the way he sat there and answered the questions, he just felt like he was the smartest guy in the room. And I laughed again tonight hearing about Brian Albert saying that he couldn't run out on his lawn because what'd you want him to do? Run out in his underwear? No, yeah, you run out to save somebody's life, yeah. But he said he couldn't because he was a Boston cop. I told a bunch of my friends here that are cops, I said, so if somebody's on my lawn, you guys aren't going to run out there and try to save them? They just all look at me like, because they're not following the case. So they say, a cop actually said that. I said, yeah. So then I showed them video and they just can't believe it. But good old Brian. Yuri was, there's a guy that was the smug and everything. Talking about a guy that sat back and just thought he was something. That was the guy, too. But so a lot of things are happening. A lot of things are coming down. Everybody getting ready for Monday, I'm sure, with Turtle Boy and old Mayor. I said on Twitter, I wish I had Jathan and Mayor as followers, because they could make like a bunch of all these accounts, and I could probably have 1,000 people following in no time, subscribing. If I had old Jason and Mayor making all those accounts so they can bash people. But they sure are worrying about Turtle Boy, talking about him now, aren't they? Just crazy stuff. And then she treated her last boyfriend even worse, they say. Got his job, got fired from his job she told on him for about doing cocaine and other things. Boy, she is a treat. Didn't Turtle Boy know didn't he know about this history with her? Or Turtle Boy hasn't had very good luck and everything with the girls. So let's hope he makes better choices with that. Always best to make better choices. Just heard from my buddy Mark. He goes, I'm at a wedding. I wish I was on with you because the wedding is boring. So now Mark is sitting at the wedding and he's watching. So I guess I'm ruining his wedding. But Mark will be back. Hopefully we'll get back on tomorrow, maybe in the afternoon. We'll see what he's got going on and everything. But with Turtle Boy, so somebody fill me in. When is the court date? I mean, I know it's Monday, but what time does the court start on Monday? Oh, so he found out after he fell for her. She convinced him it wasn't true. So how does somebody convince him? Doesn't Massachusetts have a website where you can check out people in their like criminal, like court history? I know Wisconsin has one where you can check out. I mean, that's usually the first place where everybody should go, maybe just check out people. But Turtle Boy likes to live on that edge. So maybe he just, maybe she was good at fixing refrigerators with him. I don't know. And maybe that's what it was. So it's noon, maybe Monday. All right. So that'd be noon Eastern time. So I don't know what is the rules. I got to find out the rules too on like taking somebody's feed that's actually covering outside of the courthouse. Is there like rules to that? I know like me starting like where I was ripping on JFK, I just took his feed and just made fun of it. But I don't know how you can do that with somebody live if there's a rule or anything for YouTube. I got to look into all this stuff. I got so much reading to do about YouTube. It's crazy. I appreciate the people that came in here, though, and check this out. Now, don't forget to hit like. The share would be great. I know most of the ones that are in here, of course, are subscribers, but hopefully we can hit the like and the share and get some more people to come in. And we're adding slow but sure. I think we're about 21 away, maybe we're 22 away from 100 subscribers, that's good. That's the next goal for me. I wanted to get it to 100 by the end of yesterday, but we'll get there hopefully in the next week or so as we get going with more and more stuff. But I guess the big thing, though, is the Turtle Boy for Monday. And like I said, all these other cops that are getting in trouble, we're going to have, I told Mark, I said, we're going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to Massachusetts and what's going on out there. I don't think we'll ever be lost for content as long as we stick with the Massachusetts, because it's going to take a while to clean that up out there. And whoever that, whatever they call the colonel or whatever, that Noble, it looks like he's not going to be doing it. So they're going to have to get a fresh start with everybody. And how do you find that many cops? In Boston itself, police officers, they probably have to be there's got to be some dirty ones there too. I mean, it just seems like the whole state is full of them. So, a lot to talk about, a lot of things that we're going to have to sit down. Also going to be, I think I'm going to be incorporating my niece, who is like a huge, I mean, she's up on everything. She watches everybody on YouTube. I mean, she watches Machado, she watches the Rathouse media, she watches Turtle Boy. I mean, she is so well versed in everything that's going on in Massachusetts. I might add her to the show. She said, "Oh, I don't know if I can do it, but I think she can." And so hopefully we'll get her on maybe this week and have her do a little bit with Mark and I. So, but Mark's excited. He wants to really get this going, and he's doing a lot of. Mark is an insurance guy by trade, and he's, he has to read. He has to know like every detail before he starts talking about it. So he's been doing a lot of homework, and the wedding here tonight has kind of screwed that up for him. But he said he did get the chance to watch a lot of video stuff. So hopefully he'll come back when we do our next one, and he's got more and more about what's happening. Like I said, if we can stick with just the Turtle Boy stuff right now, Kelsey Fitzsimmons got a trial coming up pretty soon in the family court there, which I read that stuff that her ex-fiance said. Crazy. And he only wanted $12 a week from her for the child. That's I don't, like I said, there's just some things I look at and I go, what in the world is going on? It's just hard to figure out for me. I don't know what that is. Also, they're okay. So do they have somebody in the courtroom that will the TVs? Because none of the main TV stations are even covering this, are they? The Turtle Boy stuff? I think they stay away from the Turtle Boy content. But I don't know. I think there's going to be some fireworks maybe Monday on this. I mean, and that attorney, what was his deal? The old mayor's attorney. Man, that guy's an old guy. I mean, he's been around for a while. DUI guy, I guess he does a lot of drunk driving, which that seems like to be a problem out there too. I always thought Wisconsin was a big, the big drinker capital of the world. But I don't know. I think Massachusetts got even Wisconsin beat. I know they say that's not true, but man, it seems like there's a lot of drunk driving out there. Just people partying. I mean, you got the cops even drinking and driving in their squad cars. I've not heard that yet in Wisconsin. Maybe there's been some cases. I don't know, but I've not heard that. So I don't know what's going on out there in Massachusetts with the drinking, but seems like a lot. I mean, the the girl that ran Canton Police Department, the woman, she even got in where she got in an accident. I don't know if she was drinking, but she got in an accident, hit somebody, injured somebody. And one thing I wanted to clarify too, I wanted to find this out. Is that true? I had read something on Twitter. Well, it's got to be true, right then? If I read it on the internet, it's got to be true. But they said that Karen Reed paid some stuff off for Paul O'Keefe from a drunk driving, helped him with something. And then he treats her the way where is the loyalty in that too? I mean, this whole thing, a lot of the stuff with the O'Keefes, I don't understand. But is that driven by the mom? All this stuff? I just don't understand. But evidently, Paul said something on Twitter that Paul got in a drunk driving incident and that allegedly Karen paid some things off for him. Paid for his DUI. So that is true. Wow. Paul, talk about a guy. That guy, when that all came out about him giving signals in the courtroom and him with this girl on the internet, and then his wife stayed with him What is up with her? I mean, come on. Is he that much of a prize? Paid his bail. Okay. Well, does Paul work? Or is he not a worker that he needed the money from Karen? Seems like, when you listen to the stories as I got into it and through the first go around in court, seems like Karen really was nice with her money. Seemed like she was really good to the kids, good to the whole situation with John O'Keefe. It's interesting when you read some of the stuff about that she was treated as bad as she was, but it sounds like the mom never liked her, and she seems like a beaut. I mean, I tried to feel sorry for her with the court and everything. Losing the son, losing a daughter. I really did. I tried my hardest to feel sorry for her. And it was tough. It's just tough. When you see her giving the finger and everything outside court and yelling stuff. I mean, evidently she's got probably a drinking problem too, allegedly. I'm not going to, she'll probably sue me for that. But I mean, it's got to be. And everybody mourns in their way. I get that. But come on. Why bring all that back on you? People are going to feel sorry for you and all that. I had a rough time. I really did. And I tried. I thought, boy, that's horrible losing 2 children. And I just felt bad. And then all of a sudden, the way she acted, it was like, I can't even feel bad for her. And then there was talk. I know there's a lot of people, a lot of rumors again that you read, but there was talk that she might have not even been talking to John before he died. Like there might have been a rift between them. So it's just crazy stuff, when you think of it. But there's so many stories. Like I said, when I started watching the first trial, that's when I probably should have got on YouTube and started talking about this. A little late to the game on what we're doing, what we're going to do. That's why I need everybody's help with getting the word out that we're going to start this thing, and hopefully we'll catch up, try to get more and more in what's going on out there. Because I don't think it's going to stop. I don't think all this craziness is going to stop right away. I think there's a lot of things that have to come out. I mean, I think there's a lot more corruption. And I think once Morrissey's gone from everything, I think then that's when it's really going to come out. I think there's going to be some things coming. I mean, there's going to be some doors opening up and everybody's going to wonder what the heck was going on. Because you got the Sandra Birchmore. I mean, that's crazy that he won't charge. I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah. I mean, I like I said, when I saw OPEG, acting the way she was, it was just really hard to feel sorry for her. And I feel bad about that. I feel bad as a human that I'd feel that way. But I mean, it's just hard. It's just hard. And then, inviting Turtle Boy's girlfriend at that time into court. I mean, that's crazy. But now I guess that girlfriend, now my niece Jen was telling me all about that one. I guess the girlfriend before Mayor, I guess she was a beaut, but I guess she's now back on Turtle Boy's side. So, and didn't Tully have a lot to do with her? So a lot of that stuff, I mean, when you think of it, that Tully had his fingers in a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. I mean, that was crazy. Some of the stuff that, and that Fanning, another one. I mean, just all of them. But like I said, is it Lieutenant Gallagher? I think it was. He's the lieutenant. He was the one that when he was talking on the stand, you just wanted to go up there and punch his nose. You just wanted to haul off and hit him because you could tell he was lying on everything. There's no way you can tell me, I don't care where you are. There's no way you can tell me that if you find somebody dead on your lawn and it's so many feet from your house, they're not going to want to come in your house. That's just not possible. They're going to want to come in your house, and they're going to check, and they're going to separate people if there's a lot of people. I mean, and I'm going to tell you right now, I got a little bit, some people in here. I'm not believing a lot of stuff, but I still believe, and again, I'm saying allegedly, but Colin Elbert took the swing at John O'Keefe. I truly believe that. And I believe that he might have fell because of being drunk and then hit his head. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because the loyalty that Brian Elbert and everybody has, I don't think that loyalty would be towards Higgins. I think it would be more towards Colin. And like I said, I'm not sure that Colin killed John O'Keefe, but I think Colin took being a drunk. And you know what? He was a drunk before all this. It wasn't, everybody said, oh, look at the pressure that everybody put on him after. He was a drunk. He was troubled. And he goes, I think he took a swing. They're probably in the garage, like they think. And John fell in his head. That's what I believe. Now, did Higgins and Brian put him out on the lawn? Yes, I believe that. I also believe Kevin Albert's involved with that too. But I think there's a simple explanation to everything with this. And I think that simple explanation starts with Colin. Colin was a troubled guy. And I think him and John had a beef. I don't know what that beef was about, but I think they had a beef. And that's I just don't think Higgins did it. I know Higgins had a reason that everybody thinks because of his being sweet on Karen. But that whole bar scene that everybody, wants to jump on and him, yelling at John and everything, with his arms and all that. I think anybody that's been out partying and you want to move it to a house or whatever after, the bars close and you want everybody to get going and all that. I think anybody's been in that situation where you're waving your arms saying, come on, let's go. We got to go. Come on, let's go. Everybody, let's go. And I think that's what Higgins was doing. I don't think there was a beef there. And there could have been there could have been a thing where on the way over that Karen and John got into it. Maybe John saw Higgins' text saying, well, but I just don't believe that Higgins, I don't believe he's the one that did the punch. I think Colin did it. John fell. It hit his head. And I don't even know if he hit it, if maybe Colin didn't have something where he hit him in the back of the head too. I'm not sure about that. But it's just, I don't believe it was Higgins. For some reason, I don't believe it. And that bar scene that JFK thinks that he discovered something, I think that was just, hey, let's go, let's get to the party and everything. And I know this is probably something that everybody don't believe either, but I don't believe it was Higgins that called JFK either. I don't believe that. I have a really good friend that works out in LA doing voice stuff, character voices. That guy can do a character voice. He can study it for 2 weeks and do the voice almost exact. And I was talking to him and I had sent him the Higgins in the courtroom talking. And that guy almost has, he could get away with sounding like Higgins. He really could. Now, I say that, and I'm not saying that I had this guy call JFK. I did not. I did this after all that. But this guy can. His name's Dean Julian. And when I was in radio, he did all my character voices for the morning show that I had. He did, at that time, he did the Bill Clintons, stuff that Bobcat Goldthwait, the guy could do exactly. You thought it was Bobcat. And I just don't believe that it was Higgins that called JFK. JFK is a fraud, no matter what way you look at it. And the new leaf he's turning over now, saying he's not talking about Turtle Boy, not going to talk about the glare, not going to talk about anybody. He's just going to do his thing, going to be a self-help guy. Him and that Chingy. Is that her name? Yeah, whatever it is. And she thinks that I still don't know if she's a therapist. She might be, because that at least from the Untwisted Tragedy, she's everything. Whatever you ask her, she's it. She's therapist. She's been shot now in a gangland shooting. So I guess maybe the Chingy is a therapist. Maybe JFK is a therapist too. Who knows? I liked the other night when JFK, because I was sniping his show, and they were talking about troubled kids or living in foster homes and all that kind of stuff. And then he goes, I had a good life. I had a good home life. My mom was great. Everything was good. I just hung out with the wrong people. I was, stealing cars, doing this, doing that. Well, that's not on your mom. That's on you then. You had a good home life. That's all you, JFK. Don't be blaming anybody else. You chose to hang out with those people. So he's quite a guy, big rapper. And I have never heard of him. I'd never heard of JFK Show Off Records ever in my life. I did radio for a long time. I worked at the only, it was the black station in Little Rock, Arkansas. No kidding. You can look it up. Power 92 Jams. I worked that station as the only white guy on staff. I'd never heard of JFK Show Off, ever. And he said he was underground. He must have been way underground, because I cannot understand him at all. Call him Randall. He hates it. Yeah, I know he does. He ripped on me a little bit on X, and I called him Randall, and then he stopped and he blocked me. He blocked me from his chat. He won't let me chat anymore with him, because I questioned his radio too, because he said he was in radio. So I questioned his radio thing. And then he said that he was one of the stations, the jamming station out there in Boston. He said he goes, it's the number one station in Boston. And they invited me on to talk about Karen Reed and all this stuff. And so I said something in the chat. I said, that's not the number one station in Boston. The number one station in Boston has always been Magic. And I think it still is the number one station as far as rating. So, he lied, and I called him out on it, and he didn't like that at all. So I questioned him working at Sirius, because he was on the Sirius at one time, I guess, or I don't know. But I questioned him about that. That's like Crawford too. For a while, Crawford said he did all this radio stuff. And then when I questioned him one night, he actually went on. He let me stay in the chat, and he was answering me, but he changed his whole story when I questioned him, because then he said, oh, my girlfriend was in radio. And I said, well, where did she work? Then he said some of the stations that she worked. And I said, no. And I think one of them, I don't know if he said that she worked there, but he said that she knew a lot of people from the KISS station. Well, back in the late 80s, early 90s, Sonny Joe White, who was the program director of KISS, legendary. And he goes, yeah, I don't know him. Maybe my girlfriend knows him. And I thought, I realize that that's more of a boomer, age, probably. But anybody that listened to, because Sonny Joe's been gone for a while now. He passed away, but he was legendary in Boston as a programmer. And, there was some really great program directors at radio stations in the 80s and early 90s. There was a guy by the name of Steve Rivers that was based out there in Boston. He was unbelievable. So Mike and Brian at LTL don't block often, really. Yeah, I found out that that Crawford, he does not. I mean, he didn't block me. He let it go on and on and on. But yeah, JFK is one that as soon as if he doesn't like it, he's not going to let you talk about it, and then he just silence you. So, and I still don't understand the J Bro thing, why he came on the show with them. That's what I told Mark, when I asked Mark to come on and join me. I said, I don't need you to go, yeah, okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah, you're doing a good job. I didn't need that. So I told Mark, I said, you got to be a part of this thing. You got to say a lot. And I don't understand the J Bro. Kevy Kev, I really didn't have any problem with Kevy Kev. But he's a follower too. Today I noticed he was doing his putting a motorcycle or a bike, maybe it was an e-bike, I don't know. He's putting some kind of bike together and everything. But so I guess he's some kind of genius in mechanic work and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and JFK, he said the other night, he goes, I don't like courthouses. I don't go to courthouses. I just don't like them. No, you don't. But you send J Burl to go there and cause trouble. So what does that tell you right there? So crazy stuff. It's really crazy stuff when you watch it from afar and you're not from that area and you watch it from where I'm at, you just sit there and go, what is going on? And like I said, that J Bro, I don't understand him either. I mean, when he sits there and tries to talk, I get lost. And even it's funny when they send it to him sometime when JFK goes, oh, talk to us. And he gets all like, oh my God, it's like deer in the headlights. Like he's going to have to talk. So, but yeah, that's, when you look at it from afar, like I said, it's definitely different. I don't know. I don't know what JFK is going to do now. I think what happened with JFK is that he losing so much viewer wise. I mean, when you watch him, it's 105, 110, sometimes over 200 people watch. And I'm sure he's, going to rip on me for mine, but we'll get there. I mean, the views, I still don't understand the views, when they quit, like the Crawfords, after they shut their streams down, they can have 200 people in the chat and the views at that time. But then 30 minutes later, as soon as they shut it down, 30 minutes later, they're up to 2,000 views. I haven't figured that out, how to do that. It's got to be a money thing where you're paying YouTube to put the word out or something. I don't get it. Definitely using them as puppets. And you can see that the way he runs it. And that's not what I'm going to do. I mean, Mark's going to be a part of this, of what's going on. He's going to add. Mark's been, a friend since, been friends since 5th grade, a long time. And, he picks on me, I pick on him. And he's going to be a real good part because he's witty. And like I said, once he gets caught up on the stories out in Massachusetts and what's going on, because we don't want to be like a really crime, a true crime thing. Because I get angry at that, watching some of the true crime. And I just don't want to mess up my day watching stupid stuff because the Karen Reed thing really, really just listening to the people, listening to Judge Bev and everything. I mean, that made me angry some days. It was like, how does this happen? And so I don't know, the true crime stuff. I don't think we're going to sit there and watch court on everybody, but we'll see how it goes. Like I said, we'll attack it as we go a little bit. And, but it's been interesting watching it for the last few years of what went on out there. And I just think it's really something when people start losing their jobs like the Proctors of the world in that. I mean, you put your job on the line. And not only that, you put your livelihood, your family and everything on the line for this. And that's a that's a big decision. I mean, but they've probably been, for so long they were covered by so many people that's easy for them to do. But it took somebody like Karen Reed to come in and just open everything up, open everybody's eyes. And I'm sure the people that live in the Massachusetts area, the Boston area and everything, I'm sure you guys got stories about a lot more than just Karen Reed. And I'm sure there's been things going on that you shook your heads at. And I mean, this doesn't start overnight. Because even, there's some people, there's some things out there when I was reading, I mean, JFK's, talking about a couple of murders and all that. And, I mean, it just doesn't happen overnight. So there's a lot of things that's been going on. And, but it's just crazy to sit there and think one area like that has so much corruption. And I realize the mob and all that kind of stuff makes it even greater sometimes, but I think this is even after the mob stuff. It just got worse. And, who is it? Erica Walsh that has that hoodie that says the best gang or something about the best gang is the Massachusetts State Police. It's true, I think, because they carry themselves like a gang. And Turtle Boy exposing, he did. Yeah, it's like I said, Morrissey's been doing this. Nobody can tell me that this just started with Morrissey. There's just no way. I mean, Morrissey had been dirty for a long time. I mean, he was a politician all of his life, and that's what, not to get political or anything, but there's some great people should look into some of these politicians out there too. I mean, it's crazy stuff. Crazy. I'm not saying that everybody should go, to the right or left or whatever. I'm just saying that get the bad ones out. There's got to be a way to vote them out. I know that's hard for everybody because there's a lot of bad ones. Both sides got them. And, but somehow we as voters have to clean them up somehow. So again, I appreciate everybody that's been checking us out. And I came in here, saying they, the Rathouse guy, people said, we got to go live. So I thought, all right, I was just watching the Brewers, but definitely not prepared for this one. But I appreciate everybody coming over here and checking it out, giving me some time here. And don't forget to hit the like, the share. And if you're new, if we're getting some new people that'll check this out later, make sure you hit the subscribe. Got to have that. And I don't know. Did everybody hear the new song that I got for the theme song? I think I need to play that again. Because where did I do with it? I don't think I did. What did I do with it? I don't know what I did with it. I'm going to have to go look for it again just to play it again for everybody. Because I worked very hard. Now, I'm not Mary B., all right? And I'm not JFK. But I worked very hard on this. Very hard. And let's see if I can get it on here one more time. Just so people can hear it. Put it on the old screen here. And everybody can hear this again. And like I said, don't rip on me because it's, don't worry. I'm going to pay Mary the right one up, a good one up for us. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. But right now we're just, got to use this one. And like I said, I worked very hard on this. So Just remember that. All right. So here we go. This is Mark and I are going to have this new theme song. We'll play it every time we go on in the beginning. I might do another one too, because I found out that my first try was okay, but I think I can do better words.
From the murals on the wall to the street side stand, Mark's got the map, Jeff's got the plan. Cruise through Wisconsin where the sun stays bright, looking for a flavor or a brand in the new site. Let's take flight with Mark and Jeff. Hippie chick, join the mad stork flock and turn it into a whole big crew. They all says we're following you. Jeff and Mark exploring again, finding the best wackadoodles in the land. Add Mark and Jeff to your day, because we have so much to say. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter how far, our curiosity's charged. We're ready to see what's next. Mark and Jeff need this job, so please come join the flock and hit the like, share, and unsubscribe. Thank you from Mark and Jeff and the Mad Stork Flock.
In the Mad Stork Flock, that's what we're going to be calling the chat, Mad Stork Flock. And the flock will be it. And it seems to be the best thing for what we're doing. So we appreciate everybody that mentioned that. That's what they wanted to hear. That's what they wanted the chat to be. So the flock will be the chat. And again, I appreciate everybody checking this out. And please share. That's the only way we're going to get this to 100. I know that I need to get it to 1,000 to monetize, and for Danny to, steer you guys all over here if we're live. I get it. But 1,000's a long ways away. I mean, that's going to take a while to get to. And this is something that we're going to just keep moving forward and enjoy what we got going. We're going basically to just YouTube and X. We're not using Facebook. The other day I put it on Facebook, but we're not going to use the Facebook. Facebook, we're getting a lot of views, from our friends and all that kind of stuff. I know when Tracy and I do our show, we put it to Facebook because we have a Facebook page called Over the Line. And so, we'd put it on there, but, we weren't doing much to YouTube, but then we started doing YouTube. And it was just hard to get people to come to YouTube for some reason. But hopefully we can get this moving in the right direction and get to 100. We start putting the goals out to get the 100 and the 200, and we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. And Jeannie Lynn, I think have you been here before? I don't know. I don't know if it seems like I didn't see your name before. But I appreciate everybody that comes here and checks us out. Please share it with people. Start talking about us on X. I think that's going to get the word out if we talk about it on X. And Mary B and J7. I mean, you guys are talking about us on Rathouse Media. I can't thank you enough. Know that. Can't thank you enough. And I mean, if it wasn't for Hippie Chick, I think Hippie Chick was the first person that took us to Discord. I don't know what Discord is. I don't even know what it's about. I haven't even looked it up yet. I got to do that. But I think it was Hippie Chick that shared everything in Discord. So, and Jeannie Lynn is from Rathouse. So thank you. See, another one from Rathouse. I appreciate the Rathouse crew. I really do. And because the chat rats have been really good to us. Really good. And we appreciate that. Yeah, Discord. I got to figure out what it is. Is Discord like all this stuff, like X and Facebook? What is that all about? I don't know. I got to look it up. Like I said, I haven't even looked into it. I've heard about it, from watching Rathouse Media. And thanks, Mary B. That means a lot coming from you. New song is great. Thank you. I think it could be better. I really do. But like I said, we'll get there and everything. You are good peeps. No doubt about that. Really? Well, we just got to keep going then. Like I said, it's just, I know it's a long haul. Like I said, I did years of radio and moved around the country, ended up in different cities. I mean, I was in, this is a funny story, one kind of funny story. My biggest fan, of course, was my mother. And it took, I was in radio. Now, this is before internet, right? Where you can't listen to radio stations on the internet. But it took over 10 years before my mother actually heard me live on the air. 10 years. It's crazy. Because very seldom, because I moved so much, I would always come home. And so, I wasn't on the air, but yeah, it took 10 years for her to hear me. But every city was different. It was just crazy. And to get people to like you and what you're doing and all that. Okay. Originally for gamers. Okay. All right. Like I said, I gotta go find that out and get going on that. Maybe I need to get a profile in there or whatever. So it's an app. Okay. All right. So you get followers in there too? Is that what happens? Is that how it works in Discord? Yes, you have to dance. But yeah, that was, the radio was a different thing too. I mean, you really had to work your tail off. You had to get in the public's eye and all that kind of stuff. I remember when I first started in radio, I was hired over the phone. Actually, I was hired because the guy was listening to me on a different radio station. And so when I finally, he said, come in and meet me, get you started and all that kind of stuff. And so I went to him, we were talking about I got to the place and all that, the station. And I knew I was in trouble. I knew I was in trouble as soon as I went through the door because he was waiting for me. And I went through the door and he was looking over the top of me, looking out the door yet. And I went up to the counter because I didn't know who he was. I went up to the counter and I said, here to see so-and-so. And she goes, oh, he's right there. And it was the same guy that was looking over the top of me. And he looked at me and he goes, oh, I didn't know you were in a wheelchair. And I said, oh, you couldn't tell that on the radio, huh? I knew I was in trouble at that point. But I still took the job because he offered what he told me he was offering. But then it was a couple of weeks later, because when you went into public, I got on the streets and everything. That's when you made extra money. You could, get that extra pay. And a lot of times it was pretty good pay. And he told me that I couldn't be in the public's eye because of my chair. And I thought, wow, did I make the wrong move here? But there's been stories like that, but it's, so I know what it is to try to build this whole thing. And Rathouse, Danny, appreciate you. And definitely everybody over there at Rathouse Media has been great to me. And I appreciate that. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to do with this content here. And one thing I'm going to try to do is stay away from going on when everybody else is on. I mean, I know a lot of people do that. They cross over and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to try to say, even if it's late at night for me, I'll do a show instead of going on when somebody else is on, especially somebody that I watch. I mean, I don't care about Crawford and Brian from LTL and that, but somebody I watch, I just don't want to do that. So I don't know, I know everybody said, well, you got to do this. We're going to do it. We're going to be consistent with it. But that's one thing I want to stay away from is not going up against somebody that I actually watch, because that also takes me away from watching them. And I don't want to do that. So So that's what, that's what we're going to do here. We're going to try to keep up on everything in the Massachusetts. That seems like the hotbed. That's where this all started for me. So that seems like the hotbed that I want to continue on. And like I said, and then Turtle Boy seems like the big story here coming up. To do mornings. That's right. No one goes on then. And then I was going to do that though yesterday morning. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. And then all of a sudden I found out that Emily C was going on. And at the same time, I didn't notice that she was going on. And all of a sudden she was going on. And I'm like, darn it. Now we can't do that either. So, but we went on anyway. And I really like Emily, what she does. I mean, she's really creative. And I like that. And so, I mean, that was something there yesterday. But, we had our best, as far as, in the chat now, we had our best numbers in the chat yesterday, even with Emily C on. So that might be something, because Mark and I are both early risers, and that might be something for us to do. Is do it in the mornings and be consistent then. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, we got a lot to read about. We got a lot to keep up on what YouTube, and it is tough to keep track. And I try to keep up on it. I try to see what everybody's doing and when they're going on and everything. I mean, I like, there's only a few that I watch consistently. I mean, I watch Broken Baker, I watch the Rathouse, and I watch some of the Turtle Boy. Like I tell everybody, I'm not a turtle rider, but I agree with a lot of things what Turtle Boy says. There's some things, the Howard Stern stuff, where you're being the Howard Stern jokes and kind of crude. I never liked Howard Stern. I was not that kind. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can be funny, but you don't have to be Howard Stern funny. So, but I do. I mean, I agree with most of the things Turtle Boy says. First Amendment right, what you say, how you say it. I think when everybody starts policing what you say, we're in trouble. So that I believe totally with Turtle Boy. And this witness intimidation stuff that he's going, I mean, come on. Has anybody seen X and the way people talk on X? I mean, that's Turtle Boy's mild compared to what some of the stuff that's going on X. I mean, it is crazy. So, but no, it's like I said, for me, it's really been something to learn this whole YouTube thing. Like I said, Tracy and I, when we do our over the line sports stuff, we did it to Facebook. And to be honest with you, like I said before, with Tracy and I, it was basically, we were doing it for ourselves because it was COVID, the end of COVID. And we were just stir crazy. And we said, hey, we should do this. We didn't know nothing about how we could set it up or anything. And we started doing it, and it was just hilarious but then, when we started, I don't know if the videos are on my channel yet or not, but when we started, I was trying to up Tracy every week. We did a little bit more of the music, of the country music stuff. And so I made sure that I called in all my favors for years. And I was putting Grammy Award winner on every week just to pick on Tracy. And one of Tracy's favorite drummers in music is a guy by the name of Fred Young. And Fred Young is the drummer of the Kentucky Headhunters. And every one of them are Grammy Award winners. And I have a friendship with them, big time friendship. And so I was bringing on all the Kentucky Headhunters, all Grammy Award winners. And Tracy would get to the point where he'd say, so is there any more next week? Any more Grammy Award winners? So I knew he was jealous. So then Tracy started bringing on some of his friends with other bands and everything. And so it got to be more about music there for a while. So we kind of redirected, because we started as a big thing for sports. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, which is Tracy's favorite team, mine's the Packers, and we were going head to head with that. So we kind of redirected what we were doing. But I did. I called in every favor, everyone, just to get him on the show and say, hey, we got to talk so I can pick on Tracy. And he was hilarious with it. So, but, and Tracy's going to make appearances on this part with us. He will eventually. But right now next week, I believe he starts. There's a couple of private shows that he's going to be doing with Blake. And if you're new here, my best friend drums with Blake Shelton, the country star. And his name is Tracy Broussard. And he and I do a sports kind of show on YouTube called Over the Line. And now he's going to get into his busy season. So the touring is going to start. And so I know they got a couple of shows coming up here in April, a couple of weekends. And then he goes to Vegas for like a little residency. Blake does. I think they're out there for 3 weeks in May. And then when they get done with that, then the festival season starts. And then they'll be all over the place come after May. And I know they're in Chicago is a big date because I'll go see them in Chicago in July. And but he will stop in every once in a while. We'll probably get Tracy on basically when maybe when they're on the road, because that's really fun to listen to Tracy and his road stories. There you go. Jeannie Lynn likes Blake Shelton. See that, Mary B? You're still here? See that? Yeah. But Mary B did say the other day, she said that she likes Gwen Stefani, so I'll give her a free pass on that one. So, but yeah, so hopefully Tracy will come on a few times. And he's watching, he says he doesn't watch, but he watches when I go. I mean, for some reason he's got it. I think the bell goes off or something. It's like, because every once in a while this week he would write me a text and go, so you're replacing me, I see. And he gets a little jealous like that. He does. And then he'll go silent with me for a little bit. It's almost like a girlfriend. That's bad. And he, all of a sudden he, will be like that. And then all of a sudden he'll come back and, go, so what's going on? So he does get a little jealous. So he's got to work past that. But he is one of the most loyal people you ever meet in your life. And but I've noticed too that he's been reading up a lot of what's going on out in Massachusetts. He says he's not about the drama, but he's reading about it. He wants to get up on it, so he wants to get on the show. And I think he got a little upset when Mark joined. I think that's when he decided I better start looking up and so I can talk to Jeff about it. Because usually if I brought it up on Over the Line, he'd say, yeah, can we get to the sports, please? Please. I really don't care what's going on in your life. Just let's get to the sports. So we go back to the sports. But like I said, he is, because he'll text me something. Did you see this? Did you see that? And it's like, he's watching it. That's pretty good. So I know he's a big watcher of Rathouse Media because I turned him on to that and he's been watching them a lot. So I'm still trying to get him to go on with Rathouse Media because I think it would be hilarious if Tracy would do that. So, but, so hopefully we'll get him on when he's on the road, maybe a couple of times, and he'll tell us some road stories. I don't think they're visiting Massachusetts this year. At least I haven't seen anything on that yet. I believe last year, they were at the Garden in Boston. They did a show. And I'm trying to think who I messaged. Somebody I messaged. And I asked them if they wanted to go to the show, but they were busy. and I was going to get him in. I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Turtle Boy. It was somebody. And because I was going to get him to go in and meet Tracy and all that kind of stuff. But they were, I believe it was last year they were at the Garden. I don't know. I'm going to have to ask him. I'll see him in July and see what he tells us and see if he knows anything about it. I think he knows because I think Tracy's told him, because he'll ask every once in a while. He'll go, what's Jeff up to? Because Blake thinks I'm a loose cannon. He thinks I'm a crazy guy. And he'll say, what's that crazy guy up to? And then Tracy will tell him, and then he'll say, what is he doing? And then he'll make fun of me or whatever. So I'm going to have to ask Blake, see if he knows anything about it. Because like I said, they were out in Boston for a couple of days. I know that. And I think it was last year. And I think it was during or maybe it was right before the second trial. They had landed out there. It was close. I know that. So it would be interesting to see what he would say. Maybe I can get a soundbite from him when I see him in July, where he says something to the flock. Wouldn't that be cool if I could Blake Shelton to say something to the flock? That should get us some people talking, right? JFK. I've been working hard. I don't know if this is way before Hippie Chick shared my old YouTube thing. But, for a while on Over the Line with Tracy, I've been trying to get Tracy to talk to Blake about getting JFK a collab so that JFK could actually have a song with a star. And Tracy said it's not going to happen. He wouldn't take it to Blake, my ideal of that. So, isn't that something? It's pretty bad. Because I really was working hard. I really wanted Blake to do a collab with JFK. I might take it upon myself in July and just say to Blake, hey, you need to do a collab with this JFK show off. This Randall. I guess he's underground. I'm sure Blake would have a lot to say. I mean, if anybody's watched Blake on The Voice and his personality and his humor, he'd have a lot to say. A lot. So, but I'm working hard. I'm working hard for JFK. I mean, I just want him to have one hit on the radio. And then he can say, hey, you know what? I got a hit on the radio. But now JFK wants everybody to pay $30 for his studio thing that he just did a couple weeks back. Did anybody watch a little bit of that studio video that he did? That was the worst. I mean, seriously. He could have done so much better with that, where they mic'd up everything, but he didn't. We shouldn't have expected anything more from him, but he just thought maybe he was ready for it. No, don't do it. I am kidding, but don't you think it would be funny, though, if I went to Blake Shelton and said, hey, Blake, I got a guy that I wish you would do a collab with. He'd look at me and he'd just shake his head. He really would. And I guess I can tell the story about how I met this guy. I met Blake in Nashville a couple of years. Would have been in the early 2000s. He wasn't Blake Shelton, the Blake Shelton of today. Not at all. Austin wasn't out yet. And I had met him. And I forget what I was doing, but I told him I was going to play Austin. I said, I'm going to play it. And he said, yeah. So then he found out that I played it. And I had just moved back to home and where I grew up. And I was thinking about things I could do. And I thought, I should put on a country show. And I was thinking about going back to my friends, the Kentucky Headhunters, and promote something like that in my hometown and give the money away to charity. That's what it was going to be about. And then I remembered this Blake Shelton guy. So I called his booking agency and I said, I'd like to book him. And this is how he knows me. And they said, yeah, we'll see. We can't promise anything. And I said, well, just check, see what he thinks. And he said, yeah, let's do it. And that was 2003. And had an all right showing. nothing real big because he only had one song at that time, Austin. And then I don't know, it was maybe 2006. It was 3 years later, I believe. I was out in Minneapolis with the guys. They were at the Minnesota State Fair, and we were staying at the hotel. And he came down. I was up early, and he came down, and he was up early, and he goes, "What are you doing?" And he sat down by me, and he goes, "When was the last time?" This is exactly how the conversation went to. He goes, "When was the last time I was at that godforsaken place that you grew up?" And I said, 2003, 3 years ago. And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "How much money you make on that thing?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "You were nobody at that time." And he started laughing. And I said, and he goes, "We should do another show." He goes, "You want to do another show?" I said, "Yeah, we maybe can." So then we decided, it was actually 2005. And then 2006, we did the show. And he came back and we blew it out. It was a great show. Great show. And of course, he was 3 years away from really hitting it big. 3 years. And of course, at that time, I was starting a radio station, which was going to be a country station. And he was such a big part in helping get that station off the ground and giving us some credibility. And it was after that, I mean, I was jamming his songs all the time. And we had a consultant that had a lot of radio stations throughout the country that wasn't playing Blake. And she would come to me, she would call me up and she'd go, "You got to cut back on the Blake Shelton songs." And I said, No. I said, "He's my buddy. I got to play all Blake Shelton." And that's when I played Out of the Box, him doing that Michael Bublé song, Home. And the consultant heard that song and said, "Wow, who's that?" And I said, "It's Blake." And added it to all the other stations that she had. And the next thing you know, he's got the voice, he's got everything after. I mean, everybody got on that song. It was big. And then he got on the voice and everybody saw his personality and his humor, which I had noticed years before that. And a lot of times with these consultants in radio, they don't go to the concerts to see what the actual act is doing. And they need to, but they don't. So Blake got everything he deserved. He lasted a long time. I think he moved to Nashville when he was 17. And you're talking 10, 12 years later. So he wasn't an overnight success, what everybody thinks he was. But and I got to say, ever since I had him in concert in my hometown, I've never had to pay a ticket to go see him. Never. Actually, I paid for one, but it was on my own. And one day I'll show you the ticket. He wrote on my ticket because I looked at him and I said, "Look at this. I came to the show and I bought my own ticket," and I was waving it in his face. He said, "Give me that ticket." I said, "No, I'm not going to." I thought he was going to pay me back for the ticket. I said, "No." He said, "Give me the ticket." And then he went up on his bus and he brought the ticket back. And I was talking to somebody. He goes, "Read the ticket." I said, "No." And he goes, "Read the ticket." I said, "I will in a little while." He goes, "No, read it now." And so I read it. And I'll have to show, I got it on the wall here. I'll have to bring it down and show you. It's one of those autographs that you'll never, ever see Blake Shelton write to anybody else. Never. I can actually say that. I know I'm sounding like JFK right now. All right? I know that. But I don't think, after you see it, I don't think you'll ever see Blake Shelton write an autograph like he did to me. And don't say that he's sweet until you see what he wrote. Yes. I knew him for a long time and I never knew the story about the brother. Never knew that until he wrote that song too. I never knew about it. A lot of people didn't. He kind of kept that under wraps, but he's a good guy. He's a loyal guy. He's been very good to me. And like I said, I can go to, shows. And the nice thing about it, because of my friend Tracy, who drums with him, Tracy's been with him for since 2003, I guess, 2002 maybe. But the climb, the watch them go from afternoon shows at a festival to a headline. Tracy, because of Blake, of course, but Tracy allowed me to be with him on that climb. I mean, just amazing. He allowed me to be right with them. Every show. I mean, I remember the first shows, 200 people, and then playing for 15,000. I mean, I'll never forget. Went to see him at Wrigley Field. I'd never been to Wrigley Field. Big baseball fan. Still haven't seen a baseball game there. But I saw Blake Shelton there. And I'll never forget, Blake was coming to the stage, to the front of the stage, and he saw me and he stopped by me and he goes, "It's a long way from Wisconsin, isn't it?" And I thought, wow, that's pretty nice. Because it was a long way. And he worked hard to get there. So, but yeah, there's a lot of stories that we'll talk about there. I mean, I'll share some of that stuff and everything. Hippie chick, glad to see you're here. And can't thank you enough again for sharing, because we're gaining people. Subscribers are coming. Seems like every day I get 1 or 2, 3, and I appreciate everything. So, what else we got? Like I said, there's so many things going on in Massachusetts, and I realize that the Turtle Boy is big, and I'm going to try to go on. Mark and I, we want to go on. But like I said, we got to find out if there's any rules about taking somebody's live feed when they're in front of the courthouse. And I'd like to know that. Or if I need to contact the people, like Tommy CPU or something, and say, "Hey, I'd like to use your feed." I mean, I guess that would be the best thing to do. So, but that's something that we'd like to cover if there's going to be some kind of feed, if there's a Zoom feed or whatever it is. I don't know much about that, calling into the court and getting on that like Attorney Melanie Little does. But hopefully start, at least do that. Because Turtle Boy's got some stuff coming up, so I'd like to, be able to do that and everything. So, but so anyway, hour and 22 minutes. I think that's pretty good, from not having anything to say to taking up 100 and 22 minutes of your time. And again, I appreciate everybody. Hit the like, hit the share. Even with the, if it's 20 people, if you share it, we're going to get it out there. And that's what we want. Okay. So I know I appreciate it. I know Mark appreciates it. So please do that for us. And like I said, I'm hoping to add my niece, Jennifer, who's a part of everybody's chat. She gets into with everybody. And she's from this area, but she's really big into the whole Massachusetts thing going on. And hopefully I'm going to add her to the show so we get that female presence so she can yell at us and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so it is best to ask permission. Okay. Well, that's what we'll do then. If they're going to be covering it, then they're going to be live out in front. Then I would definitely. I've talked to Tommy a couple of times in a message, so I can send him a message and see what he thinks. See if I can do that. So, Jeannie Lynn, same thing here. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Share, like, everything, please. So definitely bring her on. We've seen her around for sure. Yeah, she's she actually I don't remember what her. Let me look up real quick. I'll tell you what her thing is in YouTube, because she did comment on something for me. Her it's JENW 5606. JENW 5606. And she's my niece. And she was my oldest sister, who passed away a while back. But she is my oldest sister's daughter. So I'm going to try to get her, talk her into it. She said today, we were texting, she goes, "Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for that." but I think she is. I think she'd be really good. She's a talker, and I like that. And she's fast talking. She's a hyped up girl. And so I'm definitely, if you see her in the chat, wherever you guys are, just keep bugging her, all right? Tell her that she needs to come on with Bad Stork, and she needs to be a part of the show. And that'll help a lot. So, but yeah, she follows everybody. She's in everybody's chat, and she goes to work at 2 a.m. That's why she didn't come on with me tonight. But she'll be on. I'll get her on. But if you guys see her in the chat, make sure you help out. So I wish everybody a great night. I know it's almost 11 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock here. I didn't check to see what my Brewers did. I swear to God, they go out to Boston and they just suck all of a sudden. And I hate it. You know, they get that first one. They lost again tonight, 3-1. At least they scored tonight. It's unbelievable. So I don't know what Boston did to my Brewers, but I'm not happy about it. Mary B knows everyone. I think Mary B does. Thank you. Worked really hard on the voice. Actually, it come from my mom and dad. But it was, radio was a lot for me in the early days. That's the only thing I ever wanted to do. And I had a good run. It was a lot of fun. Fun that I can't even talk about. So, but met a lot of great people. I got to tell you, I started out though in pop music. Was at top 40. Didn't like the people in top 40. Country's different. The country music arena is different. And the people actually do take time with you. And it's pretty cool. So, all right, you guys all have a good time, all right? And stay safe. Hopefully Mark and I will be back tomorrow. And hopefully we can go on before Rathouse Media and do our little talk. And then hopefully we can get my niece Jennifer on maybe tomorrow. And then hopefully we'll do the Turtle Boy stuff on Monday. And then we'll see when our next one is after that. I'll try to keep everybody up to date on what we're going to try to do and what days we're going to go. And if we can do it in the mornings, maybe we can do the mornings and do that more consistently. Maybe we do it, an hour and a half every day or something in the mornings. That would be great. And thank you, Hippie. And I can't thank you enough. You and Mary B and J7. I mean, most of the people that are here, Boston, I mean, just have done wonderful for us. And I just can't thank you guys enough. I mean, I wish there was something I could do, but that's all I have is thank you. So I appreciate everything. And I want to get to 100. I think I'm at 78. I think maybe 79. I didn't look lately, but I'd like to get to 100. That'd make me feel good. 100. So if we can get 100, and like I said before, if I could just get Old Mare and Jathan to start following me, they could make a whole bunch of different fake accounts, and I could get to 100. All right. I'd rather not have fake accounts, but you know what I mean. So, well, look at that. Canada. Wow. That's cool. I love Ronco. I like that guy too. That's another one I listen to. Ronco was like one of the first people that I actually listened to. And really like him. That would be great. So, again, thank everybody. And I'm going to get off of here and get ready for tomorrow. I have some other things I'm going to watch, kind of get up to date on some things. And I just appreciate everybody coming and checking us out. And like I said, it's going to get better as we go, all right? You'll be able to figure out what we're doing, and it's going to get better. So just bear with us, all right? That's all I ask. Just let us take our time to get there, and we'll get there. And the shows will be better. It'll be better. And like I said, if I get a little group, I don't want to steal what Rathouse Media is doing, but I like that fact, the way they got some other people. I just think it's just much easier to listen to when you got other people. And I just really like that. And, it's kind of like doing a radio show with a team. And if you can get a good team together, I think that's going to add to the whole show. So stick with us. It's going to be good. It'll take some time, but we'll grow into this and it'll happen. And like I said, we'll get my buddy Tracy in here. Tracy's hilarious. If you haven't ever seen Tracy, my buddy, go look up Over the Line. It's on my channel, my Mad Stork channel. There's some Over the Line videos. Tracy is hilarious. He's originally from Louisiana. He lives in Nashville now, south of Nashville. And he is hilarious. The guy is an amazing drummer, world-class drummer. So check him out on the Over the Line. He also had a YouTube channel years ago. It was called Road Dog, I believe, on YouTube. Road Dog, and dog was spelled D-A-W-G. And it was about his drumming and other drummers and all that kind of stuff. But just a hilarious guy. And like I said, we're going to get him. Hopefully we can get him on Rathouse, because Tracy would be amazing with all those people on Rathouse. He really would. So, all right. Take care. We'll talk soon. And Mary B, thanks for everything. Hippie, thanks for everything. Boston, thanks for everything. And keep sharing, keep liking, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We really appreciate it. Share this right after. I'd like to open this thing up tomorrow and I have 1,500 views like JFK and all them do. We'll get there. Have a good night. And start rooting for my Brewers too. I know Mary B's Boston, but I mean, you guys screwed up my Brewers. People start rooting for the Brewers, all right? It'll make me happy. Night.